Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday morning, so I'm doing my usual Sunday chat kind of video, except I skipped Friday's video. I put a little community post out, but I know that not everyone sees those. It's been raining week and a half now, and that's forecast to keep on raining for the next 10 days. Now, it's not raining excessively here. We're not flooding or anything like that, though there is water on the ground because it's been raining so consistently that nothing's soaking in. The chicken pens keep on getting bits and pieces flooded, and we had plans to go and grab a trailer load of new hay for the chickens as the weather's cooling down, and we didn't get a chance to do that before all this rain. So they are holding water a little bit too at the moment, so we're having to go out there and make sure that there is dry spots. They've all got roosting spaces and stuff up off the ground, but at the same time making sure that the ground isn't too bad and that their food is staying dry and things like that. And then there's all the stuff that comes along with the smell I know I hate calling this place a homestead because I don't really feel like it's homestead, but it's a place with animals. The chickens, ducks, geese, turkeys, everything else, they get really smelly when it's wet because they just poop where they stand, and then you add water to it and it all stagnates, and then every time it stops raining the sun comes out and the ground steams and everything smells bad. So the hay really helps with that, which is why we normally have really deep litter of hay in all their pens to help absorb all of that. But at the moment it is pretty low, and it would have been great to have gotten bales in there before this rain. So there is a little bit of a smell. The pigs have the same sort of thing. They have plenty of dry space, but at the same time the pens just get a bit smelly. And then when it's raining, it's fine. Everything just smells like rain. But when it stops, like now, it's really still and humid and uncomfortable, and you get all those smells again, which is just sucky. I did get my weather station updated. I have been wanting to. So we bought a weather station only like a year or two after we were in here, and I've been keeping records using it, but it was an old style one, fairly inexpensive, has a screen inside and a rooftop mount, but to get any of the data off it, I'd have to put a micro SD card in the back, export the report, and it would come in a CSV, and then I'd have to reformat it in Excel to get the details that I wanted out of it. Now, I had a pretty good process going, but it was time consuming. So I've been wanting to upgrade that for ages. So we used that for like 5 years, and I finally upgraded weather station that connects to the Wi-Fi. So now I can log into the app on my phone, but I've also hooked it up to the website. Not my website, though I would like to figure that out. I did look at my website is WordPress based, and I did look at seeing if there was any plugins and stuff. I haven't found anything yet, but I'll put an address in the description. So I linked it to Wonder Underground and EcoWit. EcoWit is the brand of the weather station I bought, and it uploads all the data there. So anyone who wants to can use the code, use the website address, and log in and see the current weather and the graphs of weather that the weather station has picked up. I don't know how accurate it is because we've only just started using it. The rainfall seems to have been fairly low picked up on the weather station, but it is quite possible that it is pretty low because we're not getting much in the way of any significant rain rate, only like just drizzling constantly. So we had to go to the laundromat last week to get some washing dry. If it was winter, it wouldn't be such a big deal. We'd use racks in front of the fire, but it's not cold enough to run a fire. And we also haven't done wood yet because it's not cold enough to run a fire. And now all the wood's wet. So that is that too. So we can't hang, normally all our washing is done on a clothesline in the sun. And obviously we can't do that at the moment. So we do have some lines that we can hang up under cover, but the air is too moist. It's not going to dry even underneath the patio. So we have had to use the laundromat. We will use it again this week because we do have fairly limited amounts of clothing because we live that way on purpose. We don't have the space to store large amounts, and we don't need them. So we only have, whatever it is, half a dozen outfits per person, a week's worth of clothing, maybe. So we do need to make sure that we get that dry or we run low. So we're going to do that. Though Lynn just did send a parcel to the kids, and we picked it up last week, I think, and there was a bunch of stuff that she'd got on special, some Minecraft shirts and things like that, and the kids have been wearing them all weekend. They have enjoyed that very much. what else? I was going to talk about the kitchen roof. So I mentioned the kitchen roof, and some people who haven't been around before or just who aren't aware, this kitchen roof was supposed to be temporary. So the main patio finishes just in front of me, and then we extended out slightly for the kitchen because we just didn't have enough room. Now, things change, and we probably could have built the kitchen on the patio now, but back when we first extended it out, the reasoning was that the kids were so small that we needed the patio as their outdoor protected play. So the patio it's fenced off. It has pool fencing all the way around it and a gate, and a couple of years ago they couldn't get in and out of that gate on their own, and they weren't allowed to because they couldn't be out in the 20-acre property on their own unsupervised because they were too small. Now they're allowed to come and go. They know the rules. They know not to go further than they have to be able to see the house at all times. Like and we've whippersnipped certain bike paths and all sorts of things, and that's fine. But prior to that, the patio was their outdoor play area unless supervised. We have faux grass down on turf grass down on the ground where it's not decked and all that sort of thing. So we extended out this way to build the kitchen so that we wouldn't take up their space. Now, they rarely use it as outdoor play. They use it as outdoor space, yes, but they don't really need the ground and the grass and things like that anymore. So we probably could push the kitchen back in, but we put these temporary roof structures up. So these are like gazebos, like the Vita XL or whatever gazebos, and they had a canvas roof on them. Now, the canvas roof was not waterproof. We didn't realize that at the time, found that out. So over the top of that canvas roof, we actually have plastic, cafe blinds, because we used to use those when we first moved into the house. We were missing a lot of walls. It wasn't a house. It's ex-mining buildings. It only had certain walls on it because they used to be joined together. So where they were joined together was open framework and not walls. So when we first moved out, there was a few things that we needed to cover easily, quickly, be able to pull up and down, like down at night when it was cold, pull up during the day. So we bought a bunch of those plastic cafe blinds. If I find a picture, I'll try and put a picture up here. And so the canvas roof here is covered in those cafe blinds so that it was waterproof. The thing is that it's getting direct UV sunlight, and these were supposed to be temporary. Now, I would have to look back to figure out when we put these up, but it was a long time ago. So now the plastic blinds have certain parts where it's decayed. Now we put the canvas over the top of the plastic blinds to try and protect the plastic blinds from the sunlight a little bit, and it has worked because they've lasted this long. But there is certain points that have become brittle and have snapped, and so therefore there is leak points throughout the whole roof now, and it's not too bad. It's usable, but it's not great. So it makes it difficult cooking purpose. Everything in here is still kept dry in certain, like we know where it leaks, and that nothing important is where is in the spots where it leaks, but at the same time, it's just, So we got some secondhand roofing, some insulated panels. There was a gentleman in Toowoomba or somewhere who replaced a patio roof because it was hail damaged. So it's got a few hail dings in it, which is fine by us. And we bought it cheap off him. It's even actually got cutouts for LED lights and stuff, so I can put some proper lighting up on it. So we bought that. It's covered out on the driveway waiting for us to use it. And then we had to order some posts. We decided to go with metal posts for the kitchen rather than timber posts. So we ordered some metal posts, and we have those as well now. The problem is just getting the work done. So the whole thing is that we either need to pull this down and put a new one up all in the same day, or we need to build the new one over the top of it and then try and pull this down underneath it. It's a little bit complicated, and it's one of those things that Darryl and I do nearly everything on our own, but we're self-taught for nearly all of it. We do not have any construction background whatsoever. So we have learned as we've gone, and you can tell, like some of the structures that we built when we first came out, they're pretty impressive. And then some of the structures that we've built since then have significantly improved, but still have room for improvement because we're learning as we go. We get people in to help if we can, but if we can't, then we figure it out on our own, and it works, but it's, it's limited. So there's a few things that are on the cards that we really want to get done that we just haven't had the skill set or the confidence or the assistance or whatever to get done. And it's going to get there. But I've mentioned this kitchen roof a few times and I've had a lot of questions. So I wanted to just go over that. So it is a plastic covered, canvas covered temporary structure. It has a little bit of a curve to it because someone commented that the roof really needs fixing because it's got a curve. It's purposeful. It's one of those, I'll see if I can find a photo, but one of those gazebo things with the curve. Now, once we replace this, we will get some new canvas for these because they will be good for certain things. Our bathroom window is just on a wall here, and it is the eastern wall, and in summer our bathroom gets very, very warm. So the idea was we were going to move one of these that way, and it will be shade. The dogs can use that as shade, but also it will shade that wall of the bathroom, which will be great. And the other one we were going to use as shade over our battery banks. So our battery banks currently have some insulated panels just sort of propped up over them to try and keep them a little bit cooler. Something like this would be better airflow, better coverage to keep them a little bit cooler, because battery banks do not work extraordinarily well in the heat. They are less efficient. So we've covered that. Kitchen roof covered. I keep on getting interrupted by children. We know that's how these Sunday videos go, and that I then get derailed and repeat myself, but everyone seems to be okay with it. So that's how we're going to go. What else do I have to update? We've been playing around with the 3D printer a lot, and it's been heaps of fun. So Darryl's running a youth group in town over the Easter holidays in conjunction with his church. And one of the things he's doing is running some D&D games. And when he does that, he's getting some maps printed, and we're going to stick them together. I'm going to laminate them, put some sticky dots, things like that. And then he's going to take some little miniatures to place on the maps and things like that. So we've been printing some miniatures. Again, I'll get some photos of those if I can. They're not the easiest things to photograph. But we've also been doing lots of other things. So Sonnet is going to run some paracord lessons during that. And because she makes paracord bracelets, I'm not wearing one at the moment. She makes me them all the time. So we've been printing some little paracord beads, or like hoodie beads and things like that. So that's been fun. And practical stuff as well, scrapers and bits and pieces. It's been fun. So we've been playing with that. It doesn't use much power, but it does fluctuate in a way that affects the circuit that it's on. It makes lamps flicker a little bit, and it doesn't like it when the generator's on. But the plan is to get that new lithium bank that we have set up, and we can run it on there. We're still working on that. We have decided that there is some room on the roof that we can figure out for more solar panels if we rearrange stuff, but we need to find some new rails. Now, rails are pretty expensive because our roof is flat. We have to have it on a 15 to 30 degree. It has to have legs at the back that help the panels go on an angle. So the rails aren't super cheap, but a lot of people sell whole like secondhand solar arrays with the rails. So I think we'll need to keep an eye out for some of that, because that's probably the cheapest way to go. So I'll keep an eye out on that. I don't really want to buy it while I'm in Brisbane because it's bulky and heavy and awkward to add to everything else. But maybe if we can find some in Toowoomba, Darryl can go for a trip. We'll see, but we're still working on that. And in regards to the D&D, so Darryl has been doing a bunch of different things with the D&D. So we do the converting. That's like his job is converting, and part of his job is networking, like YouTube. A lot of YouTube is networking. And so what he does is he plays a few games with other people. Some are paid, some are free. And he has a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And what he decided to do was run some games as the Dungeon Master, Game Master, online to show off some of the products that he does. So he's running a game weekly with some people that he then streams for other people if they want to go in and have a look at the adventure. He is running he's running Elder Brains adventure at the moment, I believe. I'll double check that. But he's also decided when he's converting, he's going to run some streams during the week to show how he converts as well, just for people who are interested in seeing what he does or how it's done, or also having a look at the products that aren't released yet that he's working on before they're released. So he's going to stream, I think he's going to do it like 3 nights a week, 7 to 9 p.m. Australian Standard Time. And I'll put the links to that down below. So if you want to, and I think it links to a YouTube channel and stuff too. So if you feel like subscribing to a bunch of stuff, that would be superb. Even if you're not really going to watch it, feel free to check it out and give him some tips and all the rest of it. But if you're happy to subscribe, then, you know, having bump in subscriber numbers is always makes it, you know, feel like you're getting somewhere, doesn't it? So I'll put the links to those in the bottom. We're just expanding on what we're trying to get done, is basically trying to diversify a little bit, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is especially when you're doing this sort of thing, is diversifying your audience and all the rest of it. And, you know, he's going to get in on that. What else did I need to say? It's always the problem. I really should like script myself some or whatever. But anyway, let me have a think. So while I'm doing that, I was going to make, so some of the kids are at church at the moment with Darryl and some are home. And I said I would make some Play-Doh for the kids while they were gone, the ones who were home and then the ones who come back. My kids love Play-Doh. I don't think Play-Doh like ages out, to be honest. Like my older kids love Play-Doh just as much as my younger kids. I don't know. It's always been a thing. We've always done it. So what I tend to do is make it in the Thermomix. There's a really simple recipe for making it in the Thermomix, and it just makes life easier to be able to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'll see how the power goes, because we're still running a little short on power. So if my inverter starts beeping, then I'll only do the one batch. But if I can drag it out, I might do two, though I'm not sure where my colors are, because I was going to do two different colors, but I'll see. I think the box of colors is up on the top of the shelf. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start. First, we do salt, water, and cream of tartare, and we heat it up. And then we add flour and knead it. That's pretty much it. So let me grab the bits and pieces. All right. The other thing I want to try and get done today is stuff in the smoker. But the problem is that the smoker is behind me there. We've got a cover on it to keep it dry, because the roof drips a little bit towards the back there. And when it's full of wood pellets, there's a concern that if the wood pellets get wet, then it'll jam up the system. So yeah, but I really need to make some rubs up and get some stuff in the smoker too. So let us make this Play-Doh first. We want 110 grams of just plain salt. We want 250 grams of water. Let me grab some water. And then a tablespoon of cream of tartare. And we're going to heat that up. So what we do is we do 5 minutes at 60 degrees for this one, which is where my power might not work. And yes, you can do this on a stovetop, but that's one of the beauties of the Thermomix, is being able to do this and walk away. So I'm just going to cook that off, and then let me grab the color. All right, I found the gel colors, but whoever packed them up didn't pack them up very well, so they've leaked a bit, and I have no idea what color this is, but it's fine. So I've got a coppery color and what I think is a blue. And I should have enough to do 2 batches so long as I have the power. So we're going to do that. The other thing I need to do is, the kids really enjoyed the sweet potato brownies. They really, really enjoyed them, which is kind of annoying. I did 2 batches of the sweet potato steamed, and I actually roasted the second batch. So I made the 2 brownies and then roasted the second batch, and everyone loved it. And last time I got sweet potatoes, no one would eat them. So I stopped getting them. And so the ones that we got in this hamper were just the ones that were in the mixed box. And there was a whole tub of extras. Darryl could have got a whole bag of extras, and he didn't, because he was the only one who was eating them. Unless I made sweet potato gnocchi, and I do make that, but it is time consuming. So he didn't buy any more. He didn't grab any more, because he's the only one who eats them. And because he's low carb at the moment, he's not eating them at all. And then all of a sudden the kids love them. So I have 2 more that we got that I put aside to make sure that they stayed all right. And I'm going to steam these 2 as well. And then I will make more sweet potato brownie. The other thing I was going to do was make more of that. So they really liked that date Snickers bar as well. But I think I want to make the base biscuity, because I'm grinding up those dates and it's turning into a sticky sort of a thing. It's when you cut it up on the board, it gets left behind a little bit. So I think I want to make it more like a biscuit base. So add some almond meal to it, and maybe a bit of protein powder as well into that date mix, so that it ends up more of a bliss ball, protein ball type texture. And then it'll stick to the other layers a little bit better. That's the plan anyway. So I'm going to try doing that again today too, but I won't put that on here. I'll figure all that out and try and record that as other stuff, since I don't have any other videos lined up. But they really liked that as well, so we will do that. The other thing is as I said, the smoker. So I've got all my spices out. I'm going to make a bunch of rubs for all of that. I keep on getting requests for making my bacon seasoning again too, and I haven't done that in ages. And I love bacon seasoning on popcorn. And I've been having a lot of popcorn as snacks because it's so low carb, high fiber, that instead of buying things like chips and stuff like that, I've been doing popcorn because we pop it in the stove. Sonnet's our resident popcorn maker. She is probably a little bit over me asking after dinner sometimes if she can pop a pot of popcorn. So I might make some of that bacon seasoning as well for this week. So trying to line up a few things I need to get done. I'm also going to so as it's cooling down, I'll start making the instant porridge mixes again. For anyone who was here last winter, I basically make like what you buy in the instant porridge sachets, but I make it in bulk in containers, and then the kids can just boil the kettle and I have some insulated mugs with lids, and they put the porridge mix, the hot water lid on, and then it's ready to go. I ordered some more freeze-dried fruit to do that with the other day because we used it all up last year, but it wasn't worth buying again until it came into winter. So that has done its 60 degrees. I'm going to add some colour. So all I'm going to do is grab the gel colour, dip this one hasn't even been opened by the looks of it. Let's grab the other one since it's already been opened, I assume, because it's leaking. So we've got some sort of a blue colour, and then I'm just going to swish it into the cooked liquid. Salty water. Doesn't take much because it's gel colouring, like that. And then I'm just going to put the lid back on that one, which is leaving bits of blue everywhere. And then all we need to do is add flour and oil to this. So we just need 250 grams of plain flour. So we go back to our scales. 250 odd. And then a little bit of oil. You can use coconut oil or olive oil or whatever you want to use. I've got some rice bran oil in this. You can also add some essential oils for smell and stuff if you want. Up to you. And we want a tablespoon, which is about 20 grams of oil. And then we're just going to put it back on. We're going to bring it together first. So we do a speed 4 for about like 30-40 seconds until it comes together a bit. As the heat of the liquid's going to be cooking the flour slightly, so it's a bit like a roux. It'll thicken up as it goes, and then once it changes sort of, yeah, so you can, I don't know if you can hear that, it's changing sound because it's turning more into a dough. And then you put it on dough and you turn it on and you let it do its dough thing for a minute, and then it should be ready to go. As it cools, it becomes less tacky, so sometimes when you first pull it out, it feels a little bit sticky, but you let it cool a little bit and it's not too bad. But that's how easy it is. One batch though, it's only 250 grams of Play-Doh with 6 kids. That doesn't go real far because I've been making this for many, many years. So I normally do a couple of batches. I don't know if I've tried a double batch. I probably have. I would think it would be fine. 500 grams of flour needed is like well under the levels that I do with my bread dough, and it's a similar sort of a concept. So I might try a double batch as the next one, and we'll see if that works out of curiosity. So yes, doing that. What else? Now I'm totally lost as per usual what I was talking about. Sidetracked galore. All right, so that's been going for about a minute. Now we'll pull this out and have a look. So there you go, blue Play-Doh, and it's it's hot at the moment, but it doesn't stick to your hands. It doesn't, like, it works really well. So I'm going to scrape this out into a bowl and let it cool a little bit before the kids have it, and do a second batch while I'm doing that, while it's cooling a bit. Grab the Thermomix spatula. The Thermomix spatula is shaped in such a way that it fits between the blades, and it's really nice and rigid. So if you use it and you use it again on the blunt side of the blades, then you are less likely to damage the spatula, but it makes getting stuff out. You can, of course, like any food processor, I can drop the blades out the bottom, which would make life easier too. I don't know, that might be something else that I haven't covered in my videos yet. So the Thermomix, this is a TM6, which was the current model, and the TM7 is coming out in June. It looks like pre-orders start first week of April, and then they are being shipped around about June. So there's a lot of, I'll put a photo of what the TM7 looks like in here. There's a few changes, one of them being that it doesn't have the high sides anymore. It's flat and the bowl sits on top. The bowls have some sound muffling aspects to them, unlike this, so it's supposed to be a lot quieter. The Varoma, which you don't see me use very often because it's something that doesn't really suit my lifestyle, but the Varoma that sits on the top where you can steam all your veggies and chicken while you're cooking stuff underneath is 3 point something litres instead of 2 point. I'll put a comparison chart up. And so it's coming out shortly. I have had a couple of people ask me questions about it. Now, I personally wouldn't upgrade to a 7 purely because I have all the accessories for the 6 and they don't cross over to the 7. If I was capable of using 2 Thermomixes, that would be different. You'd have the 2 going, but because of my power usage, I wouldn't. But if I want to continue to be a consultant, then realistically, I sort of have to have the new model, don't I? So I do have the opportunity to earn my own 7 rather than having to purchase it by selling for either the 6s or the 7s over the next couple of months. And they have this great deal on the 6s at the moment, which includes all the accessories for free with the purchase of the 6, or you can pre-order the 7 and do that. So if anyone wants some info about the 7, feel free to reach out, and they're opening up the orders for that, as I said, first week of April. I think it might be the 6th, but don't quote me on that. But otherwise, they have a really great deal on the 6s in the meantime. So if anyone wants to reach out, feel free. I am one of the worst salespeople ever, so that's not... I mostly sell Thermomixes just by showing off how I use it and people then contacting me. I'm not real good at the whole pushing of sales in any way. So if people are interested, feel free. Otherwise, and I'll post a couple of links in my Facebook stories and stuff as things happen and come out. But anyway, so I'll probably just leave that here. I have no idea what I've talked about, what I haven't. So this is the Play-Doh. It's perfect. As I said, it's malleable, it doesn't stick to your hands, anything like that, and this one's blue, so it's still a bit warm, but it lasts for quite a few days to a week if you seal it up when you're not using it. It has, it has the salt in it as a preservative, but it's still homemade Play-Doh. It still will go moldy depending on if there's other things introduced to it, if it's left out, and all those sorts of things. But even the only thing I sometimes run short of and forget about is cream of tartare. Honest to Goodness does sell this in really giant, because this is pretty much empty. Honest to Goodness does sell this in really giant bags, and that's how I normally do it. But I haven't done a bulk Honest to Goodness order in a really long time. I really should do that because I could buy almonds in bulk and things like that as well. It's storage factor. I probably really need a second freezer so that I can store my nuts and stuff in the freezer so that they don't go bad, because that's part of the problem, is that over winter it's not so bad because it's cool. They get stored in tubs and it's cool. But in summer, if I have too much in these tubs and they heat up, and sometimes stuff can go bad, and that really sucks. So I did Kogan squirrel. Kogan had a $5 sale for their birthday the other day, and they had, oh, camera's doing really well. They had one of those mason jar vacuum sealers for $5. So I ordered that. I haven't tried it yet. I'll have to do that during the week. But it was on sale for $5, so I grabbed it. For things like my spices. So like this jar is cracked coriander, which I'm going to use in my pastrami brine, pastrami rub. And so I just put it in the jar, and I only use, like, cracked coriander is not something I use constantly. I use it in pastrami, I use it in some beef rubs and things like that, but not overly often. So putting it in the jar but being able to vacuum seal the jar would be good, because then when I use it every few weeks or whatever, it's been sealed in the meantime. So things like that. So I bought that for that. Anyway, I think that's it. And I will see you guys on the next video. There's a whole lot that needs to be done, and you know, all the rest of it, but this, yeah, like, I really need to work on the website, and I really need to figure out what I'm doing at the Patreon, because people who are paying for a membership for Patreon, I'd really like to give extra content and stuff, but we're plodding with what we've got, and that's all we're managing to get done at the moment, and it kind of sucks, but that's what it is. So hopefully we'll have some more updates as the rain backs off, the weather drops down, and we figure things out. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.